that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
About a new world order. And this is the destiny to begin to establish the new world order.
There is a chance the President of the United States to use this disaster to carry out what his father, a phrase his father used, I think, only once, and hasn't been used since, and that is a new world order. New world coming. America will become increasingly vulnerable to hostile attack on our homeland, and our military superiority will not entirely protect us. Americans will likely die on American soil, possibly in large numbers.
And people talked then, in 1990, of a new world order. And it's only now that we can begin to understand that the world order that globalization brings and what it's going to look like, it's driven forward now not just by the balance of military strength, the Cold War times, or ordinary political power. It's being driven forward by a seismic shift in economic power that we see around us. But what does the new world order mean for countries like ours, who is what I believe is our destiny of success in this new world order? So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, a new world is emerging. It is a new world order with significantly different and radically new challenges for the future.
And the hope that each of us has to build a new world order. To build a new world order.
Democratic presidential hopeful laid out his vision for America's place in a new world order, saying he was speaking as a proud citizen of the United States and a fellow citizen of the world.
But the burden of global citizenship continues to bind us together. A change of leadership in Washington will not lift this burden. In this new century, Americans and Europeans alike will be required to do more, not less. Partnership and cooperation among nations is not a choice. It is the only way, the one way, to protect our common security and advance our common humanity.
The necessity for a new world order. A, because of what's taken place in the Middle East, the rise of different kinds of groups, and B, what's happened in Asia, meaning that there has been a shift from the West to the East.
There's a need for a new world order, but it has different characteristics in different parts of the world. Just to go back to Iraq for a moment. Right. On the one hand, the manifestations of what is going on in Iraq are depressing and give some occasion for pessimism. On the other hand, simply as looking at somebody as a student of the future, I find it sort of interesting that there is now going on there conversations inside Iraq between the various parties, not going very far yet. Secondly, that there is a meeting of ambassadors which will graduate to foreign ministers of all surrounding countries, plus Egypt, plus the members of the Security Council. And that people are talking of broadening yet a third level in which you would bring in India, Pakistan, Indonesia. Now, none of this may succeed this time, but this to me is sort of the outline by which someday, in the next few years, a solution will emerge, that people will look into that cauldron and decide that they have to learn their limits, not just we, but everybody. You have, on the one extreme, globalization, in which the nation is weakened. On the other extreme, you have religion. Then in between, you still have traditional states. And how you can get an international system in a world that is states and all these other movements, that is bound to produce problems. But I have actually, especially in the last month, developed the thought that yes, we are living in a period of tremendous turmoil now. But I think that at the end of this administration, with all its turmoil, and at the beginning of the next, we might actually witness the creation of a new order, because people looking in the abyss, even in the Islamic world, have to conclude that at some point ordered expectations must return under a different system. But you cannot wake up every morning wondering what horror is going to befall you. And so, yes, we are in a I find it interesting that somebody called a conference of ambassadors in Baghdad of all the surrounding countries, plus the Security Council, and everybody came. And it hasn't broken up. Of course it didn't settle anything yet, and it won't very necessarily quickly, but then they're adjourning to a foreign ministers meeting. Now, it's just the beginning, a very small step on a road which either this administration will have to travel further, or a new administration. Somewhere along the line, something like this must happen.
That's an appropriate place to end this conversation, and as the beginning of a series of conversations, but it is to recognize that we are at one of those moments.
Absolutely.
Where there are forces at work. And that people may become, your former Secretary of State, we began, as I said, this series of conversations with former Secretaries of State, with people from not just the United States, but other countries, talking about this new world order and where we go from here.
CBS anchorman Walter Cronkite was among the recipients of the WFA Award.
Thank you very much. Today we must develop federal structures on a global level to deal with world problems. We need a system of enforceable world law, a democratic federal world government.
In a closed-circuit hookup, Hillary Clinton congratulated Cronkite.
For decades you told us the way it is. But tonight, we honor you for fighting for the way it could be.
Sure enough, a lot happened on his watch that was very, very positive towards a new world order.
In this new world, how religious faith develops will have a profound impact.
And when it says Novus Ordo Seclorum, you can find it in your pocket. It's on the dollar bill. A new order for the centuries.
It's about the future of Europe and a new world order.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN founders.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind, peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law. Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order, can emerge. Now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is a very real prospect of a new world order.
Of a new international order.
Within the next 4 years, we will see the emergence of a new international order.
The beginning.
That I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
World order.